So back at the cabin, I'm doing a little bit of a different video today since I've been getting quite a few new subscribers, which is awesome. And I wanted kind of to inform everybody, so I picked out quite a few comments and just questions in general that people have been asking. So I pretty much copy pasted some comments onto my phone and I made a list out of all of them. So these are comments pretty much, or I should say questions, they're all questions regarding the cabin. So like I said, different video, won't be really working on the cabin today. It's just going to be a little Q&A style video, and I'll try to inform you guys as best as I can. So how long did it take to build the cabin? So this one is a little bit controversial because it took a year from start to livable, but I think in total it was about 24 days, I want to say. And I'll get into how I know all my information afterwards. So yeah, right about a year in total, because I only came here on the weekends to work on it in the summer because I was trying to beat winter as fast as possible. Even when I got my last planks on the roof, then I put the tar paper and then I put the tin. It was snowing, there was already snow on the roof, so I had to hurry up. Question number 2. How big is the cabin? It is a 10 by 10 cabin. I cut the logs at 11 feet. So the cabin is, let's say, 10 feet. On the inside, I think it's like 9.8 or something like that, just because the diameter of the logs isn't exact. When I built this, there was no plan, I did a little quick sketch, but that's about it of what I wanted. Originally, it was just supposed to be like a little lean-to type of temporary-ish permanent shelter. I never really wanted to build a cabin. I always wanted one, but I never knew that one day I would actually be able to build one. It just kind of took off, and I just kept going with it. So, where are you located? Very, very popular question. People are like, "Oh yes, go United States." I'm not in the States. I'm in Canada, so I'm deep down in the northern wilderness here. Another recent but frequent question is, what is the humming sound? When I go in the cabin, there's lights, there's a humming sound. So, let me elaborate here. So here's the cabin door. You walk up to the door, you open it. This is as what I see. Step on the porch, walk in. It's pretty dark here, so do this. And then there's the famous humming sound. The humming sound is my inverter. It's a 400 watt inverter. For my solar panel, I only have one battery. I know a whole lot of people have been telling me just to get a 12 volt string of lights. My issue is I'm trying to be as cost effective as possible. I think these lights were around $10 to $15 for one strip of the same style Edison bulbs. In the 12 volt range is around $70 to $100, which is insane for lights. And for what I use this for, it's plenty. I know it could get a little bit annoying for you guys. That's why I don't really turn the lights on. I might just turn on candles like I have back there or something. But yeah, I'll give you guys a look of what that looks like. So there it is, just on the floor. The cheap Amazon inverter. That's what's making the noise. I looked because some people mentioned, well, why don't you just get a fanless inverter? I don't even think it's possible. They just don't make any. I went to an electrical store and they say there's different grades of them. So just for 2 string lights, the fan won't turn on. But then again, that's $200-300 for, I think it's 1,000 watt inverter. I'm fine with this one just for what I use it for. So yeah, now it's on. You guys could hear it. I could see how it could be annoying. Alrighty, so got the phone back up. So covered the humming sound. So I got this pretty interesting one a few weeks ago, I think, or a couple months ago. It's did you build your cabin in the backyard? Because it's hard to believe that you built a cabin in just off grid in the wilderness like this. So once again, I'm not gonna cut this out. I'm gonna leave the camera how it is. I'm not gonna do any cuts. Did I build it in the backyard or is it off grid? And I'm sorry about the whole YouTube thing, because when I'll look at the video, it's gonna be clear, but YouTube can't really process when the camera itself moves around and when there's green colors, so it's gonna be pixelated for you guys. But I'll just take the camera and I'll move it around. So here I go. There, you could see my little buddy there behind the bird feeder. That's now almost a squirrel feeder, so he's having a whale of a time. So here you go. My backyard. No cuts here, like I said, no editing. Okay, so I'm not sure I'm in the backyard, but I mean, I don't know if this is what your backyard looks like, but it must be a pretty cool backyard. So yeah, I'm gonna go as slowly as possible. So yeah, there's no streets in sight, no neighbors, that's for sure. No nothing. If I could go on the other side, you can walk to the other side of the cabin if you want. Oh yeah, it's not that hard to believe. So yeah, here's just, on top of a mountain in the woods, Canadian wilderness, off grid. Here's my little cabin. It's here, no editing. It's not a backyard. So you put the camera right here. Oh, not good. How about right here? There, better. Okay, so move this forward. Like I said, no editing. There you go. One continuous shot. So believe it or not, that's what it is. Okay. Question number 2. Well, and I guess question part B. So, did you build your cabin in the backyard? No, I just in the woods. Is it your land? Yes, it's my land. It's a 70-ish acre land. I have, I think, a little bit over 70 acres. So yeah, it is indeed my land. I am on a mountain here. Then from what you guys could see, sometimes I film it, sometimes I don't. There's a swamp. On the other side out here, there's a mountain. There's a mountain on the other side completely. And then there's flat ground, and then pretty much where the land ends in front of that, I have a lake. But a little lake with no motorized boats or anything, so it's like a little lake-ish pond thing that got created by a huge beaver dam. So, yes, it's my land. A whole lot of questions. This is maybe like 20, 30, 50 comments by video. Why don't you bring a insert heavy object here? Like, why don't you bring, for the tree that I was dragging, some pulleys and like a winch and a bunch of stuff? Well, because it's very, very heavy and I don't have my Skidoo anymore. It's not winter. Would have been a good idea. So if you guys have like good ideas that I could bring stuff, just write it down. Write it down in the comments, and I'll write it down, in like a paper or something in real life, and I will keep it for my winter to bring list. Because it really helps a lot. Sometimes I'll read a comment and I'll be like, that's a genius idea. Also, one time this one lady told me to bring a wood chipper here to clean up the mess. I agree, it's a freaking mess around here just because of all the trees and that I cut, and there's branches, but there's also 99% of the mess here is just naturally blown over trees. There's been a lot of, well, it's even worse this year, but there's been a lot of bad winds, so trees have gotten blown over. So sorry for the mess, it's not super pretty. I don't have a nice like grass front yard. I don't really care. So yeah, I can't, to answer the question, why don't I bring heavy object, insert whatever you want. It's because it's heavy. This is my only means of transportation, my good old backpack and whatever fits in my hand. So usually I have my gun with me, my backpack, and whatever is in my other hand. And also you have to consider that in my backpack I have my camera bag, which probably weighs like 5 pounds because I have 2 lenses in there, the microphone itself, the camera, which it's not a super great camera, but it's a big, heavy camera, so I have that. I try to minimize and I leave the tripod here, which saves me a whole lot of effort. Can you drive to the cabin? Second, or, what is this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ninth question. Okay. Well, can you drive to the cabin? No. Also, why? Which relates to the other one. I can't bring heavy stuff. I can't bring an ATV. People like, just bring an ATV. I can't get there. I can't. I have to cross the swamp. There's a beaver problem. I have to take care of the beavers. I'm still trying to figure out if they survived the winter or not. I think there was only one left, and I'm not sure if it survived the winter because the water is slowly decreasing, which is a really good sign for me and a bad sign for them because it means it didn't survive the winter and they died. So, I cannot drive to the cabin, except for in the winter. I have my skidoo, like I said. Now this is a extremely popular question too. People don't get it. Why do you always bend down? Because when I was building the cabin, I didn't want a big log cabin. I wanted a little tiny hunting, trapping cabin. That was a style I was going for. Was I able to make bigger? Yes, I could have made it bigger. Maybe a 12 by 12, 12 by 20. 12 by 20 is huge actually. But I wanted a hunter trapper style 19th century mountain man, basic cabin. And it's pretty much controversial for me in my head because I added lights in here and I pretty much just wanted to stick with oil lanterns and stuff. So, but whatever, we live in modern worlds. Even when you're off grid, people have internet and stuff. So, and cell phones, which is awesome. But yes, so you guys could see I'm in frame. Okay. So here I am. Why do I always bend down? The original plan was even to have a smaller door than this, probably like this, because if you look at old cabins that are still standing, they're pretty well built, so they're like 300 years old. You can see that the doors even are little squares sometimes. So people, even with their pack baskets, they had pack frames, whatever they had. It might have been tough to get through the door, but at least there's no heat escaping. There was nothing. Honestly, I don't have an honest reason as to why they made doors like that. I don't know, maybe animals had a tougher time, or I don't know. But yeah, they had really, really short doors. Some you really saw the pioneers and stuff, they were literally crouching into their cabin just because they couldn't get in. But yes, for me, when I open the door, if I run like this, I'm going to bash my head. It happens pretty much once or twice every time I'm here. So I have to lift my leg up and pass underneath the door and then come back out on the other side, and you guys can see that how tall I am. So I pretty much have the door frame right in the teeth, so if I don't bend down at all, I'm gonna probably develop a lisp or something, so I'm gonna be missing teeth. But yeah, so that's what I wanted. I wanted small doors, small cabin. That was the entire point. Another question that relates to the cabin. How tall are you? Because people are like, am I a 7'5" giant, or is the cabin very, very small? I'm about 6'1", I would say, 6'2". Not super, super tall, just I think an average height. So you could, I guess, if you say 6 foot, I think my door was at 50 something inches, I would say. So I don't know, no, there's a door frame, up to my mouth, my ear, under my ear. So yeah, you could see. I have decent headroom even in the cabin. Also, I kind of already answered this one, but what's the point of building such a small cabin? It's a waste of time. Like I said, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a small cabin, a one-person, max 2 people cabin. One bed, just one small thing. I know some people think it's a waste of time. You need that 40 by 60 log cabin that costs $10 million to make with 3 foot huge diameter majestic logs. If that's your thing, then that's cool. But I'm just not a fan of it. They're beautiful houses, obviously, but just it wasn't for me. I just wanted one very, very small, like I said, hunter trapper style cabin. Well, yeah. Is there animals at the cabin? There's plenty of animals at the cabin. If I would turn the camera right now, there's a squirrel going mental in the bird seeds right behind you guys. I don't think the mic could capture that, but he's absolutely going mental and running around back and forth. There is deer tracks right to your right. So right in front of me right now, there is deer tracks. There's deer tracks beside the cabin, climbing up the way I usually come up. And in the swamp, there is moose tracks, along with fox tracks, and there's beaver tracks, and I think it's like muskrat, and there's a bunch of stuff. Last year, I did come have a close bear encounter. I had my gun, shot, it fled. It's one hell of an experience when you're in the swamp and you have like grass up to here. You can't see anything, and you know there's a bear somewhere in the mountain. You hear it grunting and running, and you're not too sure where it's coming from. It's a nice experience. But of course, yes, there is animals around the cabin. I'm trying to kind of preserve as much as possible. I know squirrels are bad. They eat plastic. They could damage the cabin. They already did get in the cabin. They damaged it. There's mice that are an issue that I want to actually get, really bring down the population, But, yeah, I'm only doing pretty much what I can to stop that. So yes, there is animals at the cabin. There's plenty. What type of trees did I use for the cabin? So what kind of logs did I use? Have no idea. Couldn't tell you guys. Pretty much whatever was downed already. That was like conifers, so pine, spruce, maybe if there's like 1 or 2 cedars in here. That's it. I don't know if it was some logs. You see that there are like this one. This one's really hard, but on the outside there's like a 1/4 inch here of punkiness, because I tried to reuse. If the log was already dried and blown over, I was for sure gonna use it, especially if it was a good size. So I think this one might even be the same log. I think there's another log on the other side. Those were already fell over. That's when I was alone building the cabin, so I had to drag or cut down one less log. It was huge, so I pretty much was doing what I could. But yeah, so spruce, a little bit of cedar, pine, whatever there is, honestly, if that's good size and it's straight, I'll use it. So there's not one specific kind of tree that I was going for. Next question. What's your log size? You could see that I pretty much used whatever I could. The top ones there are maybe 4 or 5 inches. These ones, getting up there 5 inches. And you could see I tried to, I started because when I was alone, it was maybe like 5 to 6 inches. Then on top of that, logs started getting bigger and smaller because I was just pretty much dragging what I could. So, I think the first log there is like a 6-inch log, and the one on top is like an 8 to 10 inch. Really didn't care, they're all bolted into each other. I don't really have to worry about anything. Well, yeah, I think if you see this one here behind the lantern, those are about 10 inches. The other one on top is like 6 inches. Pretty much whatever I could find, whatever I had. I'm really not picky. I don't have like a huge lathe like those big houses that okay, well, I want like a 12-inch log. Well, they make an 18-inch log into a 12-inch log, type of thing. So the logs aren't perfectly round. They have knots. They have branches sticking out. I pretty much had to do everything by hand. It took a long time. So yeah, what's your log size? Pretty much anything that I could find. Is there an outhouse? Very popular question. I get that one about 10 times per video. No, there's no outhouse. Nature is plentiful. Pick a tree, any tree, hug a tree, do your business there. Go behind a tree, go behind a bush. Use the bush as you wish. Pretty much answers the question. Also, every time I mention a gun, I get this, or that I mention or that I show a gun, a rifle that I have, or my little revolver. I'm interested in your gun. What is your gun? Well, I don't have my typical rifle today. So I just brought this one out just to be a little bit different. And it's lighter. I knew I had to walk, so I just picked it up. It is a Marlin. And I'm not really a big fan of this one just because it's new. I mean, not just because of that, because I new subscribers, I collect antique firearms. Not so much these days, it's gun shows have been closed. But yeah, get back to the topic. It's a Marlin 1894, so it's in 44 Special or 44 Magnum. I shoot 44 Magnum out of it. It's very nice. It's a great little gun. I use it, I beat it, I abuse it. It's okay. It has a little flip up, buckhorn style sights. It has the bead front sight. I think this may or may not be walnut because this is a Remlin, so it might just be like some type of what do you call it? I think it's birch. Might be birch. I don't know, since it was made in 2011. So this is like my most recent or newest manufactured firearm that I own. So yeah, I added a safety delete here. There was like a push safety thing, kind of like a handgun or I guess an AR style safety on here. Don't like it, so I put a safety delete with it's just a little saddle ring carbine or saddle ring carbine ring thingamajig here, and I add a little leather strip to it, and I have a Browning horsehair sling. Really nice, really lightweight rifle. It's very easy to maneuver. It's pretty well balanced. But like I said, it's new. You can see the machining marks on the bolts and stuff. The side of it has like a gloss blue to it. The top of it's like a Cerakote. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it's rough. The machining marks on the hammer, on the bolt, pretty much on every part. The fit and finish, like this side, the right side of the rifle. I mean, I could like stick my nail in it. I could probably chip the wood off if I wanted to. Underneath, on the tang, there's like an 1/8 inch play. I guess since they angled the stock crooked or something like that. It's less sticking out the top than there is missing out of the bottom, but whatever. But yeah, 44 Magnum, really nice round. Accurate little gun. I really like it. It's pretty much a point and shoot. It aims very, very well. I like it with these sights. I do like the sights, they're really nice, especially with the little flip up thing. You're going through brush, you're going through something, you just flip it down. I usually run with it down. But yeah, so today's a Marlin 1894. Usually the rifle that I have is, it's the one that I got the most questions on. It is my Winchester 1886 in 4082. It was made in 1889. Octagon barrel, button mag, oddball caliber 4082. Love it. The first gun I ever purchased myself. So yeah, that's usually the one that I run. It's my favorite one. I pretty much bring it with me everywhere. Next question. So, on the inside, now back to the cabin. How big is the wood stove? I don't know. It's a wood stove that was on the property already. It's very, very old. It was rusty. I kind of have to buff it out. Got some rust out of it. There was garbage in it. I just bought a little stovepipe, so a little chimney for it. It is way overkill for the cabin. It is too big. I get a lot of comments. I think this might be... that's the next question, actually. Does a stove keep you warm? It is overkill. It's too big. I made videos. It was like minus 35, minus 45 outside. Takes about half an hour, give or take an hour, and it's about 40 degrees Celsius inside. So I think that's like 90 or 100 something degrees inside the cabin. You can't breathe. It's too hot. It's like a sauna. I need to open the windows. I open the door, and it still stays. The thermometer is right beside my new little window that I made there beside the door. During that video, a bunch of stuff went wrong. The chainsaw broke. The chain flung off. Everything was going wrong. Chainsaw froze. Had to finish with the wood chisel. Anyways, because it was about minus 30 outside, I was doing probably the worst case scenario. I don't know why. I just got a brain fart. I'm like, let's make a window today. As everything was happening, it took hours and hours and hours. It took like 5 hours just to do the window. So what's always simple with me has to be super complicated. So yeah, there was a hole the size of the window as I was doing it. Beside the thermometer, the wood stove was working inside. And keep in mind, the cold air is blasting in, and it was still 35 degrees Celsius in the cabin. So no worries whatsoever. Even if I would sleep with the window open at -40, I'd have no worries whatsoever that I could just survive and I wouldn't like catch a cold or anything. I would be sweating bullets in there. So yeah, interesting question. Next question is: do you keep a detailed journal about your progress? I do. I have the dates. That's how I know. Like I said, I think it was one of the first questions how long it took. I have the exact dates of what I did. Sometimes with little squiggly pictures of how, like, wood chips in my eye, of how I cut the logs, like my first logs that I put down, everything. I have pictures about every day. Every time I change something about the cabin, I try to take a picture if I remember. Now it kind of escapes my mind sometimes just because I've been doing it for quite some time, and like for the solar panel, I think I was like a couple weeks late on the picture because I put it on, I got excited, and I was like, oh, I went to go do something else. Then people are like mentioning it. Oh, let's say I read this comment. Did you keep a journal? I'm like, man, I need to take a picture, to document it. So yes, I have picture documentation all on my cell phone. I have a log cabin file. I have like 200 pictures in there. That's just about the cabin, from the first logs I put down, from the first foundation I traced on the ground, up to today, or last time I was here or whatever. I made the moss roof. I have my solar panel. Every time I do something, even if it's just something little, like add a window or something like that, or I'll make a bird feeder, take a picture of it. So I document it, and I also write everything down with the date and if my dad's here to help me, I'll write it down. Or if something happens, I'll write it down. So yes, I do keep a detailed journal and picture documentation as much as possible. And also, popular question. Some people want to know what boots I'm wearing. I pretty much wear 2 pairs of boots. Now they are dirty, but I'll take these off. These are, again, not good for this time of year. I would really, really like to buy myself another pair of boots, but I think they'll be over $300, so I think that's going to have to wait. But some nice boots. These are pretty much the stuff that I was just trying out this winter. I just got these. They are, they're Baffin, so they're made in Canada, Baffin Industrial. These things are rubber boots. They have steel toes, good grip underneath. They seem pretty warm. They are rated for -100 Celsius, which I think is BS. I don't believe anything close that says minus this, minus that, because I could wear this, and I know my feet and my hands and me freeze all the time. I'm almost cold. Like now my hands are frozen. I have bad circulation, I guess. I don't know why. But my feet, I think it's worse than my hands. I freeze all the time. This was great when I was skidooing coming to the cabin because I'm always moving around. But let's say if I would be hunting or ice fishing, probably wouldn't be able to put these on because I'm cold. Even if it says -100, will I ever witness a temperature in my lifetime that's -100? Probably not. Even if I'm in Canada, maybe it's like wind chill. I think a couple of years ago it was like -50 something. But that's freezing. You don't want to be outside when it's that cold. But yeah, so -100, I guess it might work for you. It might be the best boots for you for cold weather. For me, I might need a bit warmer. But yeah, they were great this winter for moving around, no problem. Can't say really anything about them. They are very, very bulky. They're huge boots, but I mean, they work really nice for me. So I wear these boots, but my pretty much favorite boots that I wear all the time, they are Rocky S2V boots. I have an olive color pair, a sand color pair. Those are my newest ones, and I have a coyote colored pair. I'm only missing the black one, and I don't really want one. I don't really like black just because it is, I don't know, it's just black. They're just all black. Not really a fan of them. So the coyote colored ones are used through and through. I don't have a sole anymore. I'm literally walking like on my foot, on the inside or on the insole. It is pretty bad. I still wear them pretty much as often as possible. And I got them I think like 5 or 6 years ago. Then after that, got my dad a pair. He's like, I don't know, I'm not really a big fan. Or so whatever. He didn't like them. So I wore those olive olive drab ones out, like my other ones. So once I wore my other ones out, I had a backup, put those on, and now for Christmas, my mom got me, not the Christmas that just passed, the ones before that, so Christmas I guess 2 years ago, my coyote colored pair. So whenever possible, I wear those. The leather is waterproof. If you look at the site, it says the boot itself is waterproof, but it's not. The leather, I guess it is. You know, if you treat it and stuff like that, leather is skin. Skin is not waterproof, so leather just is not waterproof unless you treat it, with silicone and stuff, which I did. But on the side, it has nets. It is a tactical boot. That's how I got into the whole. I was into really tactical military things at one point, and I bought those boots, and I really, really liked them. I saw a few reviews. People said they were good, so I bought them. They were, I think, they're around like $500. I think they're very, very expensive boots. $600. I think it was like $600 delivered to my door, which was crazy. Well, from Rocky, that is. Now I think the prices went down, so there's newer models every year. But for now, I would like to get their Rocky Bear Claw boots. They're all leather, like very good grip. So I really like to get them, and they look really cool too. They are leather, so they are waterproof, if you treat it and everything. The break-in period might be a little bit longer, but I guess just that's what you have to give up when you have leather. So yeah, those are my boots. Rocky S2V when it's pretty dry outside, and then when it's cold, my Baffin boots. Good question. Why did you build the cabin on stilts? This comment's like, it's a dumb idea. You built cabin on stilts. It's not going to work. Foundations are so much better. You should put rocks and you level it out. And how am I going to bring all that stuff here? I like I mentioned before, I just can't do it. I would love to bring like a dump truck, dump rocks and have a nice place. I would just love to have, a couple of nice big rocks just to do a fire pit outside. There's just not any. Like I could see one there behind the camera. I already tried beating that one out of the ground, but I guess it's like an inverted iceberg. It's probably huge, the rock. I am on a mountain, so there's just not that many rocks. I have one decent sized rock right beside me, but that's just buried at only the tip of it. So I'm not even going to try to get that out. So yeah, I don't have a foundation. I can't get cement here for sure. I'm not going to carry some 50 pounds or 120 pounds bag of cement here for no reason. The only way to be able to do that is in the winter, and I'd have to wait to like get water and everything in the summer, and that would be like a cluster of just bad stuff. Cement might go bad during the winter and everything, so I'm not interested. So I built the cabin on stilts because the land isn't level. So that's my only reason. Is everything you do staged like on television? It took me a while to comprehend this one. I showed it to a couple people. I don't know what it meant. So you're just one of those backwoods stage people, or is it for real? Or so I don't have a camera crew. I have one camera with one microphone. I'm one guy in the woods, and this is the cabin I built. I don't know. There's no special effects. I edit the videos out myself, so the editing isn't great. There's no outhouse. There's no. I don't have an RV right beside the camera that I could go sleep in. There's no. I don't know what stage means. What this person meant by that. But I film pretty much what happens day to day. If I come to the cabin, there's a video. If there's no video, I most likely didn't come to the cabin. So. Yeah, something happened and I couldn't come. I don't have a production crew. I don't have a guy with a mic over me right now. I don't have anything. So yeah, definitely not staged. I'm just filming what I can. Another good question. Why don't you just buy tin pots like everybody else? Because I did a cooking video, and people, I guess this one guy was pretty upset. They're like, well, instead of using your fancy pots and pans that you have, why don't you just leave pots at the cabin like everybody else? Well, I have my clay pots that I usually use. I put it on a fire. Maybe it's bad. They might explode on me. I don't know. I'll see. But yes, tin is so much better. This squirrel is so annoying. But yeah, maybe tin is gonna be better. But as for the little pot set that I use. So the guy said it was super, super fancy, right? So I have it in this nice, I think it's sea lion pouch. I don't know, I got it at a guy at a flea market. So I'm just going to go over my kit with you guys here real quick. So this cup here, I think my grandmother gave it to me, is from my my great-grandfather, I don't know, from World War II, I think, World War I. It's just a GI cup, just an infantry cup. I think this is like a 1/8 or a 1/4 inch steel. You could kill somebody with this thing. You could run this thing over with a tank and nothing's gonna happen to it. So it's super, super solid. So it's part 1 of my fancy kit. Part 2 is a apparently this person said a fancy bushcraft kit. This thing says made in Japan on it. It was my dad's from probably 30, 40 years ago. Don't know where he got it. Probably like the dollar store or something like that. But yeah, very not fancy. And I just added some like pots that I found at the dollar store, I think, in here of tin. So 10 pots and pans I found at the dollar store. That I made myself an olive wood spoon. So it's olive wood. Okay. And my fork is a piece of wire that I twisted here. If that's too fancy for you, then sorry, I guess. I don't know. I didn't buy any of this stuff, so it was pretty much just given to me. So yeah, not much of a fancy bushcraft set. And yeah, it all packs up nicely in my little bag. And then it goes back into my pack basket. Another good idea, I didn't think of that one, but a good idea, and the question was, why don't you just put sod rolls, so, you know, sod is just like rolled up grass that you could buy, on the roof. You need like 4 or 5 rolls and you'd be good to go. That was, freaking mosquitoes are already starting. That's a really good idea, but it's way, way, way too heavy. I think it's like 20, 30 pounds per roll. I've rolled out quite a few of those during my life. But yeah, they're very heavy. I wouldn't be able to drag those things here. It's a really good idea though. Now I'm trying it out with the moss, and I sprinkled some seeds and whatever on there, so hopefully it works. Maybe it won't. But yeah, very, very good idea for sod. Didn't think of that one. That was a pretty good idea. So thanks for commenting that. Last question that I get every time I bring a chainsaw is, what saws do you use? This whole cabin was built, and I have it in the back of my truck, by an MS-170, so I think it's like the smallest or second smallest saw that Still makes on the pro side. It's a 30cc, 32cc, so very, very small. I could just hold it with one hand. That's why I drag it here every time. So that saw pretty much single-handedly built this entire cabin. The planks here, I think I made 1 or 2 videos on it, was my new saw, the Still 661. So that's like an electric carb saw. That's a 92, 93cc, so very, very big saw. I have a 36 and 24-inch bar for it. Now I run the 24-inch bar because the entire saw didn't fit on my skidoo or in the sled. It was just too long with the 36-inch bar. It was about a 5-foot or 6-foot saw, too big. So I added the 24-inch. Now it's more like pack-friendly, I guess you could say. But yeah, MS-170 and the 660 pretty much built this entire cabin, including the planks. Send the price of lumber too, even for the back. I'll try to mill my own logs again. I'll try to get that in the video for the woodshed, just to make planks and stuff for the roof. I won't need that much, but still, instead of buying it for like $200-300 of planks, I'll just try to make it myself. So yeah, my little Q&A video. If you have questions, just leave it in the comments. I'll gladly answer you. I try to answer everybody that I can, but once you start getting like multiple comments at once, the notification stops. So I kind of have to manually look at the comment section, and I just miss out on some comments. So yeah, Sorry about that. I'll try to answer as much as I can. But thanks for watching, and please subscribe. It helps out a whole bunch, and like the video.